Hello and welcome. My name is Jesse McClanahan. Today we're going to be painting this custom landscape piece. Let's get started. Alright, so the next project is going to be another commission, but this time we're going to be doing a very large painting, as you can see here. I did the normal prep I do for just about every painting, especially canvas. We went ahead and gave it a quick sanding just so when we do our first little base layer it'll adhere properly. But before we did that, we got out the old projector and did a quick sketch, just laying out where major areas of this painting will be. It's not super particular or important because it's a very natural landscape kind of thing. This is going to be a bunch of thunderstorm clouds with some lightning coming through, and it's going to be very nice and contrasty. I'm super excited to get into it. It's going to be really dark black and purple kind of clouds, and then where the lightning will be like a brighter white, yellow, and like a orangish vibe. So the contrast between purple and orange is going to be very nice. And as you can see, we just got a quick toning on top of our stencil, mainly so the stencil isn't going to go anywhere or smudge or whatever as we start doing our initial painting here. Once we get this landscape portion where we like it, we're gonna put a coat or two of clear on top of it, and then we're gonna actually pull out the projector again and lay out a quote which will be on top of the whole painting itself. And I don't normally do that, but it's what the customer wanted, so I'm okay with it, you know. So in that case, it'll be slightly different, but you know, it's nice to do something a little out of your comfort zone. So now that we got the painting to this portion, to this point here, it's been sitting for a couple days. I did this a couple days ago while I had a little break from this project I'm finishing up now. But we're just gonna go in and be kind of messy and just kind of get some tones in, get some rough highlights and shadows in, just where everything, try to lay this out a little bit better to our reference. And just like every other painting, you start kind of big and just work your way into smaller and finer details. And I think I'm gonna keep this one a little broad and open. I actually got some different brushes to try to keep it nice and cloudy. I'll probably do like, you know, nice dabbing texture type deals for a lot of it to keep it, try and keep it clouds fluffy and everything, and then some nice gradients of oranges and yellows down in through here to keep it, you know, another contrast of smooth and kind of fluffiness going on. So let's get to the first time lapse and get some painting. Alright, so we got a pretty good start on this. I haven't put too much effort into it yet. I did go back and rework the orange sky, this little middle section here a little bit. I'm almost pretty happy with where that's at. We're gonna mess with it a little bit more, but I have to remember not to put too much work into this. Obviously we want it to make it look nice, but we're going to be putting that big quote over this whole thing, which is going to cover up pretty good portion of all of this, so just keeping that in mind, not to put a whole lot of time into this, but again, we're gonna make it look nice either way. The last thing I did was kind of put some of these darker black areas in. What I think I'm gonna do is most of these clouds is gonna be like a grayscale type deal. You can kind of see this little middle section here is starting to look pretty good. I used like a dark medium gray to get all these like little wispies in there, and kind of just blended them out with my fingers and stuff as I'm going. I'm pretty happy with how that's starting to look, so I'm gonna start doing that with the rest of these clouds, because the rest of this isn't as bright as it looks on here. It's gonna be a little bit on the darker side with just, you know, those rim highlights on the edges of the clouds and stuff, making it look really nice. I'm also really happy with the color scheme. It's gonna be mostly these oranges, a little bit of yellow on the brighter edge of the rim lights of the, you know, where the sun's gonna be coming from this backside here. And we'll go in and do some of these main highlights with probably a really lighter color, but then we'll come back and when we get closer, we'll tone everything to make everything a lot more cohesive and where we want it. We also don't want these bright spots too bright or white, because again, that quote that we're gonna do on the very top is gonna be a crisp white, and I want it to be able to pop enough off of this that it'll be legible still. So let's jump on some time lapses and get more of this background knocked out. Coming up on the last little bit of the scene, background, whatever you want to call it here. And normally on full canvases like this, I like to wrap whatever the image is completely around the sides. Some people might just paint it black or white just to make it a nice edge or whatever, but I just like to make it look like it was one big image that was wrapped all the way around. I do go on the back side and do like, I either wrap it around a little bit over the back side, or I'll do something like this and paint it like black or something and then just touch up the sides as I go. But we're pretty much done with what we got going on, so now we're just gonna final up the edge here. And on this you can kind of see some of that black ran over from when I started, but we're just gonna fix up some of this, touch it up to make it look like it's all one, and we're gonna go around all four sides. And then since we're done with that step, we'll move on to our next step, which will be putting a clear varnish on top of this to help protect this layer before we move on to our next, which will be penciling out the whole quote. And just in case I mess up or want to change some things, I'll know that whatever I do won't really mess up this. If I have to, you know, wipe away some of my stencil for the quote part, I can do that without it going through the clear to end up touching this and messing this up. So that'll be the next step, and then we'll come back and start figuring out this whole quote idea. Alright, it is pretty dark still. I wanted to get this done before it got too bright outside. We're going to bust out the projector one more time to help us transfer the quote onto the canvas. So we're going to do that now, and then we'll use a combination of paint markers, probably mostly paint markers, and some just generic white paint and brushes to fill this out. So let's get to it. Alright, so there you have it. Super happy with how this thing came out. One thing I would mention is laying out the letters was kind of annoying because I tried doing it while it was on this easel, and this isn't the sturdiest, so it was kind of moving, but it still turned out fine. Just next time I think I'll put it on the floor and like up against the wall or something so it's nice and sturdy and isn't gonna move as much. But other than that, really, I couldn't ask for much more than this, you know. I was being aware that I didn't want to put too much time into the clouds, but I still wanted to put enough that it looks really nice, and I'm super happy with how they came out. You know, there isn't really any hard edges, which I was trying to do, just make it nice and soft and just fluffy, and just working off the reference I had that the customer supplied, and I was pretty happy with it and how it laid out and everything. And you know, we went back and forth a few times with the layout of the text here, and again, I think it looks great. I couldn't ask for much more than this, you know? So it's another one in the books. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe. I'm always over here doing some sort of creative thing, whether it's traditional art, I'm making some sort of home decor, or who knows. Leave in the comments below what I should do next. See you on the next one.